All right, so I want to tell you this story. I coach basketball here in Lewis and Auburn. I won't give you the names of these schools or programs just because we're here. But I want to tell you the story about a bunch of neighborhood kids. All right, and so it's February 2017. I was asked to coach some AAU basketball. I showed up to a tryout, and we're evaluating some kids. We're looking at some different teams, some different coaches, and I looked at a first initial team, and I gave my list over to the director. And the director says to me, "You can't have those players." So I said, "Well, what players can I have?" He said, "Well, you could have anybody from this list, but you can't have this list." I said, "All right, that's fine." Took a look at the second list, and I selected 10 players from that list, guys that I had seen play at Lewiston, guys I'd seen play at Auburn. I'm giving you names of places now, but all right. I picked I'd say a well-rounded team. And he looked at me, he looked at my page, and he said, "Those are a bunch of neighborhood kids. Coach, you're going to lose a lot this season." And I looked at him after coaching an 8-1 team that just ended the season right before that, and I said, "Coach, I'm not giving my free time to lose." All right. So a bunch of neighborhood kids. So we begin our practices. We're working together. We're gelling as a team. One thing I learned at that time was the Battle of the Bridges is actually a mindset, not just a sporting event. I'm not sure if you're from Lewis and Auburn, if you know about the Battle of the Bridges. If you do, it is a mindset. And I noticed that within my players, a bunch of Auburn kids, a bunch of Lewiston kids that came together to work together to become one team. Throughout that time, as we became a better team and we started working together, that was our motto. We're just a bunch of neighborhood kids. All right, we're not supposed to be successful because we're just a bunch of neighborhood kids. A motto that we then took on from that point was we have to play them again as a sport of basketball, but again, for us, basketball is a microcosm of life. That's how we feel. And so, a lot of things you learn within the sport is what you're going to use within your life. Our thought process behind that was we've got to play them, but they have to play us. All right, we've got to play them, but they have to play us. All right, no matter what, we give our best because, we respect our opponents because we came here to play our sport, and that's what we want to do. At the same time, they still have to play us. All right, and they better respect us as well. That neighborhood team was one of my fondest teams, period. It was a bunch of, again, 7th and 8th graders who were going through puberty and, learning about different things of life. And some of the memories of the trips that we took were just really amazing experiences that I had with a bunch of neighborhood kids. And I have a little bit of notes just to kind of keep me on track. Oh, 140. Okay, all right. Picking up the team, all right. So we end up going to New Hampshire. Again, this is about March of 2017. We're in New Hampshire. And this bunch of neighborhood team blitzed through about 3 or 4 squads of teams from Massachusetts, New Hampshire, all over. And I remember sitting right before we played in our tournament game. And the director shows up, and he sits down with me for breakfast, and he says, "Coach, you have the opportunity to put our program on the map." And I remember looking at him, and I said, bunch of neighborhood kids now, huh? Bunch of neighborhood kids. And with that experience, I just remember looking at them and saying, "You guys have exceeded at this point more than anybody ever expected you to. Proud of you guys. Let's play." So we get through that tournament. We end up losing. We actually lost very badly to a team from New York. And I just remember going over to try to congratulate my guys and keep them from tears that some of them had. And I remember 2 of my players coming to me and saying, "Coach, we're just a bunch of neighborhood kids. We're good. And I end with that just by saying that if you've ever felt like you weren't supposed to be able to do something, or I really don't know where I'm going with that, but if you wanted to be just a bunch of neighborhood kids, I see you. I appreciate that.